Hey guys, I'm Paul Bomba,
And I'm John Magerl.
and this is Airwolf to Rewolf.
We'll be watching episode 11 to Snare a Wolf.
Mm.
I don't know about you, Paul. I thought this was a good episode. I enjoyed it.
John, I really did enjoy this one. It had a little bit of everything.
So this episode has a top operative from Homeland Security named D.G. Bogard show up on the scene. He has control of a satellite and is going to use it to locate Airwolf and take it or destroy it.
Now, John, unbeknownst to us, we know D.G. Bogarts already. We've already heard his voice countless times.
Yes, he is a voice we know from the beginning of every episode. So,
yeah.
Archangel warns the team about this D.G. Bogard guy and that he will be sidelined for 72 hours to take him off the map. They go to hide it. In the process of hiding it, they meet a female pilot named Tony. Tony Donatelli.
She's Italian.
She is Italian, which is the only reason Dom and her end up liking each other at some point in the episode, but we can get back to that at another time. So they are currently, they being the team, Dom and Hawk, they're doing a film for the military. They're doing training videos for the military showing explosions, and ultimately the final shot is meant to be a simulated atomic bomb explosion, which will come up later.
Yeah, they're carpeting an entire swath of land with bombs. They're flying these bombers in. There's no stopping them. They're going to blow up this whole area. Nobody is supposed to be in that zone or they're going to get destroyed.
And importantly, at this point, we do learn, when we learn about the atomic bomb, that where they hit Airwolf may be damaged by the explosion, which creates a reason for them to have to move it later in the episode. So
forget about the fact that there's like a dozen other planes there, right? Like
they're old. It's a boneyard. That's where planes
it's a boneyard. They're old planes, but I mean,
seems wasteful.
Scrap, no?
Yeah. When we're meeting the military, we meet two main characters. We meet Colonel Hank Brandt and Sergeant Nash. Hank Brandt is kind of just a prop in the episode for the most part, the colonel, but Sergeant Nash is important because the episode is built around the team has to decide who they trust. They have reasons to distrust the pilot, Tony, and reasons to mistrust Sergeant Nash because he likes to poke around with their equipment.
He's pretty nosy. Particularly around the camera equipment. Maybe he's just a film buff.
And that's his cover if he ends up being revealed to be the guy. And Hawk is very suspicious of Tony, so they go to question her. And she ultimately admits that she was following him. But not because she's a spy, because she wants a job from Dom, because she was fired from her job for very unfortunate reasons.
I mean, she's out of work, and she has absolutely no skills other than being a pilot. So
yes.
She probably couldn't get a job other than being a pilot. So she's come to the right place, apparently.
So there is a confrontation between good old D.G. Bogard, the main bad guy, the narrator, and Hawk at the Hawk's Nest at one point that is important in that he walks in with a federal warrant and says, "Give me the helicopter or I'm going to blow you up." And Hawk says, "I don't know what you're talking about." He goes Shaggy on it. He's like, "It wasn't me." Yeah, he's legit. He's a good rival, you know?
Like I mean, it seems like he's really done his homework in terms of Airwolf. Mm-hmm. Like it feels like he's been after Airwolf for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time we're seeing him, but he's pissed and he's ready. He's ready to. I think he says he has no compunctions about destroying Airwolf, and we all know only a certain kind of person says compunctions. So I don't know.
Clearly, I do say compunction. So what does? Oh no, what does that mean? Am I a villain?
I think you're a villain.
Okay, all right, that's okay. So, as I said earlier, we have the reason why Airwolf has to be moved, which leads to our big action sequence, and ultimately the climax, right? So, they go to Tony, and Dom is like, "I need you to work for me." But Hawk was sneaking, and he steals her plane in an attempt to misdirect. They get to Airwolf, and unfortunately it was all for naught. DG was on top of it. He picked him up on radar.
He's got his own silver helicopter. He's not messing around.
No, he's not messing around. So he shows up with 4 or 5 helicopters. He has Airwolf surrounded. Hawk's in trouble. He's like, give up. You have no chance. And Hawk pulls the classic thrusters on the ground move, gets under the helicopters, takes off, gets away. And then there's a chase.
I mean, what do you expect is going to happen when you have helicopters against it? I mean, we even saw like 2 episodes what Airwolf does to like multiple helicopters. Yeah, there's no chance.
He did have backup jets, right? So DG is smart. I think he does ultimately underestimate Airwolf, but I think that's allowable for an intelligent villain in this universe because Airwolf is this like crazy outlier thing. Right. Like that is likely to be underestimated even by smart people, I think. So he runs. Airwolf runs, he's flying away. There's a lot of fun action shots. 2 jets show up, and this is happening at the same time as the aforementioned bombing run, right? So they're dropping giant bombs. Bogart, Airwolf, he's going away, and he being Hawk, decides to fly into the bomb. He's like, I'm going in.
Right. And everybody sees this, and they're like, we're not going in there after him. We're going to get destroyed.
Yeah, so the jets bug out, the helicopters bug out, and Dom is talking to Colonel Guy, and he's like, stop the bombing. And the Colonel Guy is like, absolutely, I'll stop the bombing. And then Sergeant Nash, we get the reveal Nash was the bad guy. He takes the phone away. He's like, I work for Bogart. Bogart's in charge here. And Bogart says, it's Hawk's choice. He goes Drago on him, and he goes, if he dies, he dies. Right?
Well, I mean, and we already know he has no compunctions about taking Airwolf down, so.
No compunctions. So, bombs drop. Airwolf flies in. Briefly, the audience is led to believe, I guess, that Airwolf explodes. Conveniently, while we believe it has been exploded, the Colonel arrests DJ Bogart and Nash for, I guess, effectively murdering Hawk. And then we get the lovely flyby of Airwolf. I'm okay. Everyone's awesome. We did it. And at the end, it is revealed that Airwolf had a special techno visor that dropped down and saved Hawk's life, keeping him from being blinded by explosion and letting him fly through it.
What was that word you said?
Visor?
No, you said something blind. What? Blind? What?
Oh, okay. Blound. Does that make you feel
Thank
better?
You.
Okay. My friend. So, Paul, and then... Okay.
I had trouble understanding you for a minute there.
Absolutely. So then we have a fun little scene where Tony, who is still at the Hawk's Nest, is offered jobs by both Dom and Archangel. Then we have a nice laugh and the episode ends.
Now that we've finally established that you aren't looking for Bogart, I'd like to say that you are exactly the sort of person my firm is interested in recruiting.
Just a minute there, Whitey.
I'm having a nice laugh thinking about it right now.
You feel like that hit all the points, buddy?
I think it. I mean, it was a pretty straightforward episode. I mean, it was action packed. There was a little bit of subterfuge. I mean, the guessing game thing was pretty on point. I mean, that was my first big thing, which is the red herrings and the guessing games. And I still don't quite understand like the tracking beacon part. Like, was that placed there by Tony?
No, I think that was Nash when he was messing with the helicopter.
Yeah, but Nash. Yeah.
Yeah, because we turn and we see him like in it a little bit. So like, I guess I think you could believe that he had been in further and he was getting out and was
right. Yeah, I mean, it would have to be Nash for it to make any sense, but
yeah.
And then I thought, oh, is it just like a little stick recorder? Is it like a but back then you had to have a tape. You couldn't have like a little.
Yeah, I'm not even sure you could have had what they said. That's probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that movie, No Country for Old Men, where there's like, Josh Brolin has like this like, is it Josh Brolin? He has a suitcase. He has a suitcase and there's like a tracking device in the suitcase with all the money, and it's like, what is that technology? I don't even know. Is it like a low jack? So he's got the low jack in Airwolf.
Yeah, he's got the low jack. And he does the classic throw it in a truck to throw him off thing, and so the bad guys chase the wrong thing, which is just
if I'm driving a pickup truck full of pigs, and like a helicopter flies like 15 feet from me, I'm like freaking out. Like I'm gonna pull
it's
over
like,
and
whoa,
stop.
holy shit. Yeah, no,
But this guy just like keeps driving.
Yeah, he's good. He's good with it. That's
Balls of
probably
steel,
the
man.
part that's the most unrealistic in the episode, is that guy didn't freak the, the hell out.
And he actually gets the beacon in the pigs, you know.
Yeah, Hawk
Right
should
in
have
the
been a
pig.
basketball player. Just look at that
Yeah.
touch.
The NBA Top Shot.
Oh,
Get the NBA Top Shot
don't
of
say that. Don't say that.
Stringfellow Hawk. Series 0. Feels the bad feels there. Yeah, so I thought it was a lot of fun. And that I mean, you know, I think anybody really watching it knew that the bad guy was Nash, but
yeah, probably.
you didn't know. I guess you didn't know if like Tony had some ulterior motive, and that was what kind of kept me hooked because I like the Tony character. I think she's fun. I was, you know, I'm like, oh, this is, and okay, and this is gonna take me for my second point. So I need you to give me some of your first.
I can get through my first one real quick, which is just like, I thought it was fun. We have the continued Airwolf as a character, like, because Airwolf ultimately saves Hawk at the end of the episode, right? We have that cool like technology drop down thing, and it's been a theme throughout the show that Airwolf was almost Kit. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost a full on character, but like in the last episode with Karen Dean, it was like having a baby and had the plans inside of it, and now like it's like sort of acting to save Hawk. I'm just enjoying the continued development of like the helicopter is a real character in the show.
And we've talked about the bat utility belt of Airwolf. You know, it's always it's got another thing in the utility belt for Hawk to use. You know, and this one was a visor, which was very effective, especially in case. Well, I guess he just didn't get hit by any bombs. He was able to, you know, fly through them. Yeah, and he's the best pilot.
He's the best pilot, but
I'm excited. I don't think there's any doubt that he's the best pilot at this point. I mean, we've seen so many best pilots just go up in smoke.
100%.
Right.
He's a genius. But you were excited to get to your second big thing, man. What do we got?
Well, you know, my second big thing was like, it's more about Airwolf, the show in general, which is the ladies of Airwolf. And do you know that the very first episode of Seinfeld did not have Elaine?
I didn't know that. No.
Have you ever? If you ever get a chance to watch it. It's a weird one. It's a weird episode. And,
it's
and
a
early,
weird one.
Early,
yeah.
Early Seinfeld is also just a little weird. They kind of, you know, get into their groove. I know you're not a huge.
I actively dislike it. Yeah. No, I'm not.
Yeah, I think it's like one of the funniest. Anyway, they didn't have Elaine in the first episode, and somebody had the smarts to say, "Look, we need to have a woman in this show." You know, and Airwolf needs to have a woman, and here's this pilot lady who, by all measures, is like a great fit for them. She has great chemistry with them. You know, she's got a little snarkiness with String. She's got a nice camaraderie and paisanness.
We like the sassy dark-haired women. We like them. We like the Airwolf clearly has a type.
Yeah. I mean, well, look, Dom Belisario. I'm not gonna. I mean, I have no guarantee that he's an Italian guy, but I have no compunction about saying that he's probably Italian.
Oh no, you said it. Oh, the villain.
Oh no,
am
I
everywhere.
A villain now? I'm wearing like my springtime colors. I'm
You're not wearing the white coat. You are a villain.
No, well, I put the white coat up. I wore the white coat out, so it's up in the closet.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, no white coat. I said compunction.
Okay.
But I thought this was a golden opportunity to get a woman in the show. Like, and I was actually watching, like after I saw her come into the episode and like the kind of banter that they had, I like stopped it and I went back to the opening credits because I wanted to see if she was in the opening credits. And she was listed as a guest star. And I was like, oh, you know, it'd be really nice if she was like listed in the series regulars.
Yeah.
But we don't get that just yet. You know, that's there's that will come eventually with Airwolf, but not with Tony, unfortunately.
No, I mean, not with Gabby, not with Tony. There were a few. The Israeli woman, I believe she was Israeli, the daughter of
Tova
the
Felshu.
dolls. Yeah, she was fantastic. Had that
Yeah.
same kind of sassy back and forth with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, could wear Hawk down, even get a crack of a smile out of his face.
Right. She made him
Yeah,
laugh twice.
yeah.
I mean,
Right there,
uncanny.
right there. Keep her forever. Actually, I mean that's great because my second thing is Kathleen Lloyd. I thought she was amazing. She played Tony. And I'm amazed because I look back and I'm like, she was in the Missouri Breaks, where she was the female lead up against Marlon Brando and Jack Nicholson. Like, just the fact that she was hired for that movie is everything I need to know. Like, oh my God. Like, I want to go back and watch now. I didn't even know Brando and Nicholson were in a movie together. So,
Yeah, I don't know that movie at all. And I consider
yeah.
myself somewhat of a movie guy, but I don't
Yeah.
know that movie
No,
whatsoever.
I mean, we both are. And the fact that we both haven't, that's really interesting. With two of them together, like, it makes me kind of want to watch it more now, but expect that it's awful. Like, because I
Missouri
feel like
Breaks, huh?
Yeah, the
I wonder what it's
1976.
on. It's got to be streaming somewhere, right?
Pretty much everything is at this point. So, and that's my second big thing, Paul.
You know, my third big thing, John, is the profession of Dominic and String kind of coming back into
okay.
the world, right?
Yeah.
We're actually seeing them living their normal lives for a minute, because for so much of Airwolf, they've been on missions, they've been doing their thing, and like in the pilot episodes, we saw the movie set.
Yep.
You know, and then it's been alluded to a couple of times. We haven't really seen it, and now we've gone back to like normal life for them. And I thought it was refreshing. You know, it kind of like it brings up some interesting questions about like how they're hiding Airwolf, and how they're doing all their other stuff and like living their life.
No, I agree. I hadn't thought about it, but that's a really good point. Like, there was the episode where Dom went to Cuba, but he was only using his job as a cover for his own mission at that point.
Right.
Right.
He has this job.
Yeah.
Right. But
yeah.
And we see that Dom is like actually like a camera operator.
Yep.
So like when he's not flying, I guess String is usually flying, and then Dom is usually operating the camera.
Yeah, I imagine that Dom has had to develop those expertise because he knows that Hawk's gonna fly, right? So like, if given a choice, like Dom is a pilot in his own right and a very good one, but clearly Hawk is, as we just talked about, the best pilot in the world. So like, not having him fly would be a little silly at some point. So, yeah.
But it's also interesting. It's like they were like missing the filming at a point. Like I wrote down on my notes, like, what about the movie? You know, they're missing the movie. You know, it was all very loosey goosey, I guess, with the Department of Defense educational videos, wherever the heck they're going.
There's probably, I mean, I think he probably is a pretty specialized person, so I think they probably kind of have to go to him in a small group of people. Like, how many people have the military clearance and everything necessary, and the helicopter, and the camera, and the experience to like try to do a film, which they imply during the course of it is kind of impossible. Like, they're going to fix it in post because the explosion is going to be so big that they're going to fly in after it basically ends and just kind of get some shots.
Yeah. And this like brings to mind something. I'm going to let you do your third big thing before I bring this up, because this is just like a question I had, and maybe it's one of your big things, but yeah.
My big thing is you brought it up already. We finally get to meet the narrator. He's real. Yes. He walks into the world. Lance Legault, that voice that I knew is like the Colonel Bad Guy. I think he's a Colonel Bad Guy in the A-Team too. Like that classic sort of straight-backed villain who thinks he's the good guy. I mean,
I gotta say, I'm glad we met him. I'm glad we met DG Bogard, Lance Legault, but like not a whole lot of payoff for 7 episodes of kind of planting the seed, right?
I would say the moment he walks into the Hawk's nest, I would say like the beginning of the third act of the episode, it's quite far into it. And that's like the first time we've seen him since like the first scene of the second scene of the show where he's like, I have a satellite. I'm gonna find Airwolf.
I'm gonna either destroy it or fly it back to Washington myself.
Yeah, he's very not present. When he walked in, I was like, oh yeah, he's in the show. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. He was underutilized in the center. The middle was all about the is it Nash or is it Tony dynamic.
Yeah, but it was really more like, is it Tony? Oh, there's this guy Nash over here. Might be a guy,
I had in
right?
my notes Nash is probably a bad guy, but I had Tony pegged as someone Archangel sent to help them
Mm,
really early, and
yeah.
then that became clearly not true along the way.
No, that's what I was talking about earlier, which is like what was her ulterior motive? Like I kept like trying to piece together
Yeah.
some kind of lie about her, but there was she was basically just like,
What she said eventually.
yeah,
Yeah.
she was a genuine unemployed person who
Yeah.
was looking for work,
Yeah. A very
like me.
ambitious person who wanted the job and did all kinds of crazy stuff to get it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so maybe not like me because that the ambition part, but um,
So that's my last big thing. Paul, you said you had a question?
well, yeah, it was weird to me because they're like they've flown Airwolf to Cuba,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They've flown it to Libya.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I've looked this up. Helicopters don't fly thousands of miles, right?
Yeah.
Like a Bell 222, which is Airwolf.
Okay.
The Airwolf is a cosmetically modified Bell 222. Um, this helicopter has a range of like 350 miles
Okay.
before it runs out of fuel, needs to be refueled. And we've already established Airwolf can be refueled in flight. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, when they went to Russia, the pilots, remember the pilots? They were like, "Oh, I wonder what it's going to be. It's going to be a thing. It's a helicopter. Oh my god."
No, it's not. You need help.
You're mental, dude.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just like pick up Airwolf and like
Fly to
park
Libya.
it in like Alaska?
Because that would have been a much less interesting episode.
Because the built-in thing is like, oh, we're making this movie, so we don't have time to fly to Nebraska and park it in Nebraska in a cornfield, right? But instead, they don't mention that, and then they go get sidetracked with Tony, and then
Yeah, but they don't get it. It's not like go to Alaska sidetracked. It's. I think that's the best explanation is that they had to do the training videos.
so like we can't go that far with Airwolf.
But I feel like it doesn't quite stitch together right because like Hawk is independently wealthy, right? He owns like he owns the Museum of Modern Art effectively.
Right. If he needs money, he goes to Sotheby's and like put some stuff up for auction. That'd be good.
Done, right? And
taxes would be insane though. The taxes would be nuts.
It would be tough, but he'd get by, right? And he seems to own the Hawk's Nest, right? So, like, to save Airwolf, is it not worth going like, all right, sorry guys, we quit. We're not gonna be able to do this one for you. Adios. I'm glad we got to talk about that. But this episode was made in the '80s. Did it stand out to you in any way that this was the '80s?
Yeah, well, I talked about it briefly, or what was one of my big things was just like I don't know. It's like, is it sexism that we don't have a female lead in the show yet? What is that?
I don't know that it's sexism. I think there is certainly a through line in the episode and just sort of the show of what I would call very casual misogyny. It's just like when Dom meets Tony, right? Like immediately he's like a woman pilot, and it's like
what the hell are you doing out here by yourself,
yeah.
lady?
Yeah. And she's sort of okay with it because like it was the time. And this is not to say that it wasn't wrong. This is the dance we do all the time. This was a very typical portrayal of an older male, probably even a younger male of that time, and his attitude towards women and women pilots. It still sucks.
I mean, pilots. My understanding, it's still a very male-dominated profession.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly have not solved misogyny. Like that is not what has happened in our culture, but it was more accepted, more open, more like it could be almost endearing in a way from Dom, and that's over, and thankfully that's done. At least
I gotta say, I am not a fan of bangs.
Okay.
Like bangs.
All right.
Tony had some pretty significant bangs.
Oh, she had
That
great
just-
hair. She had the big.
She did.
big-
She did have great hair. I'm not hair shaming
Yeah.
anybody. I need to just be clear about this.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about my preference. Like, what's that show? Where what is it? NCIS?
Which
with the-
one? There's like 4.
I don't know. The girl, she's like kind of gothy, a little bit.
Oh yeah, I don't
black
think she's
hair.
on the show anymore, but I know who you're talking
But
about.
I'm just talking when she was on the show.
Yes. You didn't like
Those
her
bangs, man. That was like the biggest thing for me. If she came on the screen, I was like, I gotta shut this off. I can't deal with these bangs. It's like
Yeah.
it overwhelms me. I get
Yeah.
very overwhelmed by bangs very quickly.
Okay. We look at different things when we see new people walking onto the screen. I never focused on her bangs. But
I'm like, honey, come look at this woman with her bangs on TV. It's crazy. Look at these bangs.
um
My wife is like, what are we gonna do about my daughter's hair? I said, I don't know, but we're not cutting
no
bangs.
bangs. No bangs.
It's not happening. No.
It was. I agree with you. I was going to bring up the sort of casual misogyny of the show too, as far as this is the '80s this episode, and I really enjoyed the relationship with Kathleen Lloyd and Dom, but also like cringed through like a third of it. So it was one of those things.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it. Like, I was looking at the Nielsen ratings for these episodes, and of course, the highest episode Nielsen rating score they had was for the prior episode to this, which was with David Carradine, right?
Yes.
And then the second highest was this one. But I was thinking, like, it's cool that they like built in this feature, right? Like, if let's say they did the Carradine episode and it bombed, it tanked, nobody watched it, and CBS was like, "I'll pull the plug." They could end that. They could end the season right here.
Yeah.
They could end the season like Dom is like, "You killed Hawk,"
Yeah.
and then like we cut to like a funeral procession where Hawk is like dead, and that's the end of the show. It's over. I don't think anybody is watching this thing and Hawk's dead.
Yeah.
But what's the point of that? The point of it is that Belisario is like, I got a nice little way to tie up the season, tie up the show. Hawk is dead, and
Airwolf is gone. Yeah.
Airwolf was gone. We know, it failed. It was a failed venture. What was that show that everybody freaked out about because it just like got canceled and there was no resolution for it? And then they came back and made a movie, Firefly.
Firefly. Yeah.
I tried to watch it. I had no idea what was going on. I mean, it's not Star Trek, you know?
It's one of my favorite shows. I think it's fantastic. It is certainly not It is very much conceptually the idea of the original Star Trek, the Western in space, but they just went all the way with it, right?
Right,
like,
but like with Star Trek, you could watch it and pick it up wherever. Usually the episodes are kind of self-contained.
Yeah,
Whatever,
they're
the
very
episodes of the week.
self-contained
It's not. It's not. With that one, I had no clue what the heck was going on.
I think we've done it. I hope you like and subscribe. It's very appreciated. Hope you have a great day. This is me signing off. Bye bye.
Bye bye, GN.